Welcome to all of you here in the United States and around the world. I'm your hostess, Surabhi Khanali. Now here on this month's segment of Social Justice with Surabhi, we have a very special guest, Dr. Mike Ghouse, who is an author who has written a book titled The American Muslim Agenda, Building a More Cohesive America. Now we are excited to have you on the show, Dr. Ghouse. Welcome.
Dr. Khan, good to be on your show. The title of your show, The Social Justice with Surabhi, is very appealing. Indeed, the foundation for all societies that are peaceful, prosperous, and harmonious is based on social justice. It's good to be on your show. Thank you.
Now, for some of our viewers that might not know, please tell us a little bit more about your writing in this book that you've written, and what inspired you, what prompted you to write on the American Muslim Agenda.
Thanks to Sean Hannity, Stuart Varney, Megyn Kelly, Greg Gutfeld, Laura Ingraham, and several at Fox News. Through them, I was able to see how Muslims are perceived by the right-wing people like Pamela Geller, Bridget Gabriel, and Robert Spencer, how they propagate a false narrative about Muslims. Secondly, every time a terrorist acts out someplace, Muslims start praying and wishing that he was not a Muslim. Then condemnations follow, and the terrorist is not a Muslim, he's a fringe element, he is an extremist. Then we will start putting the fires out and begin defending the faith and get very, very frustrated. We need to get out of this mode. Thirdly, Americans are a lost tribe. We don't have a strong leader who can steer us through difficult times and take us onto a plateau where every American, including American Muslims, feel secure with their faith, race, ethnicity, and culture. Finally, we're American Muslims. We can do better than that. We cannot be reacting to the events as they occur in a very defensive mode. Every American family and business has a plan on how to deal with financial, social, cultural contingencies should there be one. American Muslims don't have any contingency plan except reacting. Since I'm familiar with the issues so thoroughly, it was my duty to write this book, The American Muslim Agenda. It is a primer, a blueprint, and a roadmap for American Muslims to consider regaining their confidence and be the contributing members to the American peace and prosperity that they are.
That's actually quite exciting, and this is a very interesting topic to write on. Now, I know that America can get a little bit political when we learn about things in the Muslim community or Islam. How would you describe yourself when you hear these things, when they're getting political, and how would you describe Islamophobia in the United States currently?
Insecurities are built in all humans that makes them susceptible to believe that they have demons to fight. Politicians cook up these vampires for the general public to live in fear. When you are afraid, you stick with anyone who claims to fight those demons. This is how politicians thrive. Nearly $1 billion have been spent on building a false narrative against Islam and Muslims after the 9/11. Every crook saw an opportunity to make money. All they had to do was say anything false about Islam and Muslims, and the public believe. They fool the public. How long can they do it? But when they do, they receive the funding, they receive the votes. Islamophobia is a thriving industry. Every election cycle, you will find candidates erecting those vampires to frighten the people and get their vote. Do the demons really exist? Hell no, they don't. Let me give you an example. I will not go on the moon on the rocket. Even if NASA begs me, pleads me, requests me, threatens me to go on the moon on that rocket, I am not going. But when you find out the truth, they never asked me. This is what Islamophobia is. Building on demons that don't exist. However, let me assert, Islamophobia did not come out of thin air. The sources of fear of Muslims comes from the mistranslations of a few verses in the Quran and some of the books written by Muslim scholars in response, as in reaction to the fear they had from the times of crusades. They were wrong. They wrote false narratives. It was criminal for them to have mistranslated those few verses in the Quran. It was purely political. This is a big subject. I'll be happy to do workshops on it. The good news is those bad translations are being corrected one by one. But those books are already there in the market. If you see something false about Islam, check several books, read different versions of Quran translations. You will get the truth. I'm looking forward to speaking on those subjects. The book, American Muslim Agenda, is about building cohesive societies where all of us Americans can function in harmony without fear of fellow Americans.
That's very interesting to hear that. I know that within marginalized communities in America, we want to gain a lot of leadership and keep that culture and that community alive. So how would you describe Muslim leadership, and how have you incorporated such topics in your book? I'm interested to know.
Muslim leaders in the past believed that their duty is to spread Islamic rule around the world. They are wrong, dead wrong. Islam is not a political entity. It is a spiritual guidance to live one's life in harmony with self and with fellow humans around them. This book, American Muslim Agenda, has 2 brand new chapters that have never been written before in Islamic literature. When you talk to Muslims, what Islam is, they talk about the 5 pillars. They are rituals, pathways that is not entirely Islam. I have put together 12 Muslim values, Islamic universal values that will pave the way or guide the humanity to build cohesive societies where every human, yes, every human can live in security. This book would be a good book to teach about the essence and purpose of Islam. I hope the Muslim schools and colleges adapt it as their curriculum. This is the best reference manual to teach, learn, and talk about Islam.
Now, as someone who's interested in politics herself, I'm interested to know and ask that I've heard that you've written about a Muslim becoming the first president of the United States, a Muslim woman actually. So what prompted you to write about this? And I'm curious to know the political side and your political stances on this.
Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, had said that if a society were to succeed and thrive, they had to pull their bootstraps to live a good life of harmony and peace. It squarely rests on the shoulders of women. Women who are equipped with education. Indeed, there is a woman behind the success of every man. The historians have written that Bibi Khadija, that is Prophet's wife, was the rock upon which Muhammad built his faith. One day, when Prophet came home huffing and puffing after the encounter with Angel Jibreel, she believed him instead of discounting him. Bibi Khadija, Prophet's wife, became a catalyst in his mission of creating responsible, accountable, and just societies. Prophet Muhammad had responded to a question 3 times with the same answer. The question was asked, who is the most important person in any society? He said, a mother, and a mother, meaning a woman. Women in general are less biased towards people who are different than the current social norms. A Muslim woman would be ideal to lead the way for Muslim leadership. She will care about building cohesive America. Once again, it is a big topic to talk. I hope in this book there is a detailed outline how to elect that Muslim woman president in the year 2036. The details are laid out step by step. And that is the reason I suggested a Muslim woman to be the first Muslim president.
Now, having said all that, I know that in the American society, coming from a marginalized community myself, it can be hard to sometimes accept criticism. Now, do you see yourself accepting criticism on the Quran and Islam and the Muslim community? How do you see yourself reacting to these things?
Humans are born to be free. And the legitimate freedom comes from questioning everything out there, including your own belief. One of the most critical values of Islam is free will. From its very inception, from the birth of Adam, who was given free choices, to several verses in the Quran and the practice of Prophet Muhammad. Indeed, Prophet Muhammad asked his associates to ask questions. The more questions you ask, the more you learn. Today, I'm a confident Muslim because I welcome criticism of Islam, Quran, Allah, and the Prophet. Instead of silencing people, shutting them down, or telling them God said so, I find the wisdom for their criticism. Nothing God has said in any holy book is BS. God has said for a definite purpose to build cohesive societies where each one of His creation can live in peace. I welcome criticism, and I will go to find the wisdom in that criticism. Shoot any questions at me in your meetings or in your talks, in your speeches. There is a full chapter on criticism of Islam, Quran, Prophet, and Allah.
Those are very interesting points, and I surely will read this book and learn more about your American Muslim agenda and what it has to offer. We wish you all the best with all your future endeavors, and I hope you have a lot more blueprints with writing coming soon. Thank you so much, Dr. Ghouse, for being on our show, and do you have any last message for our viewers?
And finally, my last message. This book, The American Muslim Agenda, will give you a clear picture of what Muslims and Islam is all about, which was never explained before. The book should have been called American Agenda, a roadmap for building a safe and secure America for every American, not just Muslims. We need to reassure each other, fellow Americans, that together as Americans, we are committed to safeguarding the American way of life. No American needs to worry about losing his or her way of life. As Muslims and as Americans, we uphold, protect, defend, and celebrate the values enshrined in our Constitution, a guarantor of our political and social structures that each one of us wants to be preserved. Yes, I'll be happy to talk about how to build a cohesive America where all of us can feel secure, and also talk about this book, American Muslim Agenda, to any audience. God bless America, including politicians. God bless America, and God bless every human soul. Thank you for watching.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ghouse, for being on our show, and we're excited to share more news and attract more followers to your writing. So thank you so much, and this is your hostess, Surabhi Khanali on Fox 5 Plus, signing off.